I'm super excited for this class today. It's going to be great. We're going to talk about open house mastery with a master, and an amazing lender. So I really appreciate you both being here. I'll turn it over to you.
Well, thank you. Well, first, I just want to, I am Julia, and I have a slide that introduces me, but I am your mortgage gal. So this is my brand. I carry this license plate with me everywhere. I don't take it off my car, but I have one on my car too. But I know you guys are really super busy, and so I just appreciate your time, and I appreciate Ops time and Fidelity's time for letting me come do this presentation. And more than anything, I appreciate Aaron being able to team up with me on this because, well, I know you're a superstar. And so I think everybody will learn a lot from today's presentation. And I want to make this collaborative. I want to make sure that you guys share what you're doing, maybe what's working, what's not working, so that we all learn from each other. Because at the end of this, I'm going to ask you all, what was your one big takeaway? And although this was a success, if you at least have one thing that you can implement into your business, that will help you be more successful, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And then we also have a drawing. So I have like 5 books on the table, and whoever wins will get to pick one of the 5 books. So real quickly, before we jump into it, I just want to introduce myself. I am the mortgage gal, as I already said. I've been in the business for 19 years. Started in 2006, right before the market crashed. I am really a firm believer in building wealth through real estate. I recently purchased 2 little casitas in Costa Rica. I have an investment property in Tucson, Arizona. And I just really believe, again, in building wealth through real estate. I do a lot of social media. So on my business card is my Instagram at Julia, your mortgage gal. And every week for the past 3 years, I've been promoting small businesses through what I call a Saturday shout out. So please check those out. They're really fun. I really believe in the best way to have a successful transaction is communication and education with the client. And I have one son, that's Sebastian. We love to go to rock concerts. So if you like rock music, I'd love to chat with you. We would go to Korn and Slipknot and Metallica and Pantera, and we've been to a bunch of them over the past 3 years. So without further ado, I would love for Aaron to just give a brief introduction about himself. And then I would love to go around the room and hear each of your names. If you have a word for the year and something that you're hoping to get from this class, my word for the year is intentional. So Aaron, go ahead.
Awesome. Yeah, Aaron Pontius, it's crazy. Started in 2020, small team, knew everybody, but I'm trying my best to get to know some of the faces that are new here. I came from outside the industry when I worked for Drew back in 2020. I was in fitness. Real estate doesn't really help with fitness, but you can be intentional about that. And I've really thrived here. I've really enjoyed it, mainly because I started with, I guess I really got lucky. I started with the right brokerage, great support, amazing talent that supports us. And it's been very much a collective mind here, which I really appreciate. And that's really what we want to foster today as we talk about open houses. I'm hoping to learn more from you guys too, because there's always things that you can change and tweak to really up your game. I have 3 daughters. They're all teenagers. That's my world, 2 drive. I have a big dog. I got a big male Rottweiler, thinking I could balance things out, and he's more with the ladies, which is cool. So that's my world. They're all doing track and field, so they keep me busy. And but I love real estate. I wish I would have figured this out, honestly, when I started my career, and it's been a great journey. So with that, I think we're going to go around the room real quick. If you guys wouldn't mind saying your name, the one word that represents the year, and then what was the final thing?
Maybe one thing that you're hoping to learn. And if you don't know yet, then that's okay.
I'm going to start over here and work my way around.
Sure. I'm Paul, the new guy. Really happy to be here with Opt. Before I got into real estate about 6 months ago, I spent about 15 years in craft beer as a brewer and a production manager at a variety of local breweries. I'm really excited to help build my career here, or just really grow my career here. And I'm going to steal intentional, actually, because that really kind of fits with what I'm trying to get more cohesion with the way I'm doing things. And I'm trying to learn how to really take that to open houses to get better at planning all the steps and really doing things intentionally.
Awesome. Yeah. Love it. Thanks, Paul.
My name is Jeff, veterans coach. I started 4 years ago. I happened to be Drew's neighbor. One night at a barbecue, he talked me into becoming a realtor. And it's been really fun watching this thing this machine grow. It's been pretty amazing. Great people, always new faces. You know, the losers, they get rid of themselves, so it all works out. I don't have a word, but I have kind of a motto: little things matter. In real estate and coaching and in life, if you do the little things, the big things will come. So I just hope to learn a little thing today.
Awesome. Thanks, Coach.
Yeah.
I'm Eric. Word for the year, focus. And I guess what I would like to take away from this, you know, I haven't done an open house in probably about 1.5 years, and when I was doing them, I didn't have any sort of a free or a post or anything. So I guess what my takeaway from here needs to be is any sort of a process around the open house.
Awesome. Thank you.
My name's Henry Liu. Something about me. I joined here in January. Came from my brother's team, and you know, feel like I should have just started here. Fuck my brother.
What's a good part of my brother?
Yeah. No. One thing about me is I don't know if I have a one word thing, but I love life, and you know, just happy doing what I'm doing.
Awesome. Thank you.
My name is Devin. Hello. Also started about 6 months ago. Pleasure to be here. We should talk sometime. Word of the year. I'm feeling stick to itiveness. That is my word of the year. It was either that or career. I feel like they kind of say the same thing, but career is a little bit lame. Stick to itiveness is better. Yeah, I'm trying to establish myself in a self-driven career, and I can feel it here. So I cannot think of a better place to have started than here. I've listened to a lot of people's first experiences, and I don't know how other brokerages operate in the ways that they do. I don't know how they're successful, because this place it seems just like correct. You know what I mean? Like, it just seems like the way to do things.
Good feedback.
Yes.
I'm Allison. I am not an agent. So I've been with the company for about 4 months.
Okay.
Started in January, and I'm their HR operations manager. It's my first venture into the real estate world. So just really looking to learn more about, you know, how to best support all of the agents in addition. So
What's your word?
Oh yeah. The
oh,
other word.
my word. What is my word? I think my word for the year is, and probably every year, is joy. Just
That's
because
mine.
I think there's just so much to be thankful and grateful for every day.
That's good.
I'm Realty Rex Buchanan. And I would say my word for the year is woo woo. And I'm just glad to be here.
Thank you. Okay. Want to go in the back?
Yeah, I guess that's me. My name is Chris. My word for the year, which I just thought of right now, so thank you for making it,
Yes.
is momentum.
Nice.
We work in an industry where I feel like momentum is very meaningful, and getting that snowball rolling down the hill, and a lot of different facets of this industry that matters a lot. So yeah, I've been in real estate over 10 years now. I spent a big chunk of it on the title and escrow side. Kelly was my rep when I got into it. She was great. So anyway, what am I looking to get out of today? It's really easy I like your guys' word too. I know others have said that. It's easy to not be intentional about open houses. Now you show up, and now you have some flyers, and you get there 5 minutes before, throw up a bunch of signs and hope for the best. But I feel like if you come prepared with information and can really show your value quickly in a short amount of time, that people coming through can be really meaningful. So I look forward to seeing kind of your guys' approach and what I can take away from that.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I'm Casey Rowland. I'm new here also, and really glad to be here. My word for the year has been it was level up, but combine that, I just went with elevate that one word. That's my role this year. As far as open houses, I'm kind of excited to see which sensory I'm missing with my open house regimen, so.
Thank you.
Try not to let you know.
Hi, I'm Amber Whiteman. I started here about 6 weeks ago. I started on St. Patrick's Day, so I felt like that's kind of a lucky thing. My word for this year, actually I have 2 words, it's gratitude and growth this year. Yeah, and then for the year or for this class, I just want to learn more about like how to elevate my open houses and more experience.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
My name is Shane Bertner. I've been here since February. My word would be rejoice. It's similar to that, but just taking joy and finding it in all the things around us. My question that I'd like to know is what's the best day and time for an open?
Ooh, that's a good one. Keep that in mind.
We'll cover that.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. I'm Brian Spear. I think my word could be fresh start. And yeah, I'm curious what you guys have to say about open houses, like timing and what magic you can possibly produce. So.
Got it. Okay. Thanks, Brian.
Hi, I'm Hannah. My word for the year is mindful, just trying to be sure. And values. And I'm just interested if there are any ideas I haven't heard before.
Awesome.
I'm Allie. I'm constantly saying in my head, slow down to speed up, and having a 10-month-old at home, I'm like a little bit in chaos mode constantly. So my word is a saying, and that's going to be slow down, speed up, slow down, I suppose. Yeah, I'm just excited to hear from Erin. I feel like I don't get to hear from you very often on a presentation stage, and like you have so much knowledge to share. So I'm really looking forward to that.
No, I haven't gone yet. I'm Lindsay. I'm the marketing manager for those that are new. I'm just excited to hear what you do and how I can support you better and that kind of stuff. My word is also joy. My life got a hard reset this year, and it's, fresh start, and it's too short. So joy.
Hello, I'm Maxine. My word for this year is surrender. So much like Allie, I've got a lot of chaos going on in my life. I'm personal with a 10-month-old also. So surrendering to just all that life has to bring has been a word that keeps coming to my mind often lately. What I'm looking forward to learning is I remember when I jumped into the agent side of the business, I also, much like Chris, have spent the career side on title and escrow for 10 years. When I pivoted to the agent side, I remember feeling a deep sense of imposter syndrome during open houses. So how do you leverage your expertise, even though inside you secretly feel like a novice, and show that to the people that are walking through?
Well, Maxine, my word is surrender as well.
Yeah, I love it.
Very cool. I'm glad nobody said survive. Means we have the right people.
Before we jump into Kelly, Ann, do you have a word?
Oh, okay. My word, actually, we do this for our sales team as well every year. So my word this year is courage. Just to do things that are uncomfortable, and grow, and takes courage to do that. Sometimes I don't do.
Yeah. So, Ann, do you have a word?
I do. My word is worth, as in know your worth, know your value, and also making it it was to take a moment and, is this stress I'm doing really worth it? Or is this activity I'm doing going to be really worth it? And looking at it in a different way. If you read the book Worthy, I recommend that book highly.
Awesome. And last but not least, our photographer.
Oh, I'm Andy. I'm the creative manager here. I guess my word, be present. Just always be present in the moment. Listen to what's around you, because that's where you can find a lot of answers.
I love that. All right, well, let's be present today. So our agenda today, thank you everybody for sharing. I really appreciate that. We're going to talk about overcoming open house issues, preparing and promoting your open house, the big day, and capturing and converting leads to clients, which includes a lot of follow-up. So why do we host an open house? It's because it's your storefront. It's because we're saying, hey, we're open for business. And the more open houses you do, the more people you meet, the more opportunities you have, right? And then who comes to an open house? We know that we have potential buyers, potential sellers, neighbors, and agents. And how many people, well, Erin, how many open houses do you hold this weekend?
I had 3 this weekend.
Okay.
Yeah, it's interesting. So going back to the other slide too, You know, I used to not do open houses because I thought, oh, it's just a bunch of neighbors coming through. Now, when a neighbor comes through and I ask, hey, what brought you in? Are you actually looking to shop for yourself or do you live in the area? Well, I'm just a neighbor. I love neighbors because guess what? You can help me pick your neighbor, right? And it might sound cheesy, but you know, a lot of these neighbors have friends and family that they would love to have live on their street. And they're motivated. They don't want to have some crazy person move in next to them. You know, they're there because they're curious about the home and the layout and they know people. So, and they might want to sell their house too.
Yeah.
You never know.
Good point. Anybody else do an open house this weekend? One person? Okay, how was traffic?
It sucked. I had all neighbors and just one buyer, but he was just kind of I got time to kill guy. I mean, he was just getting off of work and had to go pick someone up. So he saw the open house signs and he, decided to pop in and he was like, yep, way out of my price range, what he said. And that was it. Took a free water bottle and jetted.
Okay.
These neighbors do, but you never know what their intent is. One of my listings off Sun Circle in West Lynn, I got a call because he just called me out of the blue. He goes, hey, I saw that you sold my neighbor's house 3 houses up.
Yeah.
And you sold it, well, thanks to our fantastic marketing team. We sold it in just a couple of weeks. They're not always like that, but he's like, I really need to sell my home. You sold it quick. Share with me what you did. And I actually walked through your guys' open house. So that breeded another seller. So these neighbors are actually, they're bread and butter, really.
Yeah.
Right.
And their future business.
Yeah, and to that point, what's the goal? The goal of the open house is obviously to sell the house for the seller, make the seller happy, right?
Yeah.
But you also want to generate buyer and seller leads from that. And to Aaron's point, get 3 to 5 people maybe requesting a CMA or a value of their home, because you're right, they may be, you never know, the neighbor could be coming in because they potentially are thinking about listing their home later in the future, right?
Yeah.
So open house options, and then I'm going to turn it over to you, Aaron. So obviously there's broker opens. You can do an open house for the neighbors, or you can do a public open. Aaron, what do you do?
Yeah, no, this is interesting because I've done some of these, but not all of them. Has anybody done a broker open before? Okay. I'll probably ask you guys how that went. I'll share with you a broker open that I had. Now, this was a couple years ago. Unfortunately, I didn't sell this property. It's the one listing. I can see Ali's face. You know which one I'm thinking of here. Put a lot of money into this one. It was a tough one. It was a 3.2 mil. We had to eventually drop price down. The mistake I made on this one is I did a CMA. It was valued at 2.7. The guy enchanted me on a tour of 88 acres on a UTV and talked me into selling it over 3. Should have held my guns. But anyways, that's not the point of the story. I did a broker tour, and this was up in St. Helens, off the beaten path. Roughly about 35 minutes north of like Hillsborough, Portland area. So it's a little ways up there. It was an enchanting log cabin, 4,000 square feet, built 2018 with all these outbuildings. Some of you, I think, did any of you guys go to that broker? You went to that one? So way off out there. Now that's tough to get a showing there, let alone an agent to go there. Any thoughts or guesses how many people I was able to get to go to this broker tour?
Well, we know we got
5. We got 5. 88.
Wow.
I was able to come. This took a ton of preparation, a ton of marketing. I actually partnered with another lender. The lender helped out quite a bit. We had title escrow officer, Zach Bay, did a rural property continued ed there on site. I had UTV tours. I had a UTV company actually come out with the UTVs and give tours. We had a piano player playing in there. We had vendors. We had all the stuff to draw as many bees to honey as possible. And I couldn't believe my goal was to get over 60 when we had 88. So huge success. Now, I didn't sell that property, but that's not the point. I got people there. Now, once you get people there, you can leverage that. That did breed into other conversations and other networking. But that was that took a ton of preparation. How about you two? It was Megan and Brian. You guys both.
We did one. I mean, we spent a ton of money. It was like a whiskey tasting with food, and I invited all the brokers and mortgage brokers and title. And quite honestly, I had probably more mortgage brokers than title people. But and then a few public people just showed up too.
Sure.
But we had like 75 people or something.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a good show out. And like you, I didn't end up selling the townhome.
Yeah.
And it was a bunch of townhomes that we ended up selling 0. So,
Your networking, I imagine that with all those people that.
I mean, it was just overpriced probably, so, yeah.
Price is key. Yep. What you making? You had one as
I've done it a couple of ways. I've done it as like
or Hannah,
a
excuse me.
training where it goes live, like preview for brokers within my office, and then in Southwest Washington they have like a luxury brokerage for once a month.
Yeah.
So if you get your property onto it, there's like a caravan of people that will come through, so it's easier to get property that way.
Yep. Sorry, I keep calling you Megan. I don't know why. Hannah. Correct me. Yes, correct me. My kids correct me all the time.
So do you still think broker tours are worth it?
I think broker, it depends on the property, location. You just have to know preparation. I used to say anticipation means preparation. So if you anticipate something, that means you have to prepare for it. You have to work backwards. So if it's a rural property way out in the middle of nowhere, it's going to take a lot more work. If it's closer in the city, you have to think about your end result. How much foot traffic do you want to yield the results that you want? And you have to work backwards. Partnering with your marketing team is going to be key. And why are you wanting brokers to come out? Obviously, we want them to come out because we want them to do what?
Sell it.
Sell it. Yeah, we're trying to create exposure. It's all about exposure. I tell people my number one job is exposure. We used to have an agent here that I think Sean me, let's say who was. He used to say my job is to create as many eyeballs as possible from Portland to Portugal. That was the saying. I love that. That's really it. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
So how about neighbors? Has anybody had like a neighbor invitation only or anything like that? Brian? Okay. How was that for you?
That was actually really, really good. It was a real unique street. It was like a real unique, it was Harold Court in Southeast Portland, Reed neighborhood. And all the neighbors loved that street. So they all showed up.
Yeah.
And I don't know if any business is going to come out of it, but it was very successful.
You know, one of the benefits to that, because I've never tried that before.
It's good and like a unique neighborhood. People love their spot. They want to really check.
You definitely get a feel for the culture of that neighborhood and the vibe.
Yeah.
You can have very meaningful conversations with the neighbors too to find out how long they've been there, if they're happy there.
Yeah, they open up big time.
Right. The other thing too is my Lake O open house that I had. We had 20 buyer families come through, but we had probably that many neighbors. And it's really challenging because if you're able to do like a neighbor invitational before, they're probably going to more respect the open house, right? The more likely they've already came through, they've already seen it. So now you know who's walking through your doors is most likely going to be a buyer.
Yeah.
So you can kind of separate those out a little bit, which make it a little bit easier as you're trying to qualify who are you coming in.
Yeah.
So that could be an
My
advantage.
favorite part of the neighbor open house is actually the marketing of it, which is that you can walk the neighborhood, you can have little flyers, you walk, you knock on every door, and you invite them personally to a house that you're listing, and then you become that neighborhood. It's less about the attendance at the open and more about the canvas of the neighborhood. So if you ever have a listing that you want to farm that specific neighborhood or get more listings in, that's really when you should use the neighborhood open house kind of.
Do you recommend doing that before you would do a public open or after? What would
So launch strategy in general should be, you launch a listing on a Thursday, on a Friday, you walk the neighborhood and you invite everyone to the open house. That's going to be maybe on a Saturday, and then you would do a public open house on a Sunday. So, right, it should be kind of boom, 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 walking the neighborhood, having the neighborhood open house, and then the other one. And then the neighborhood open house, you can do all sorts of fun things. You can really make it fun with food and drinks and all those kind of things.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, I had an agent that did like 10, 10, and then 5. So 10 on each side of the house and 5. And he would look up their names, like on, I think it was tax records, or I don't know if it was title, but he would be able to know who was in each house. So he could think, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Jones, I wanted to personally invite you to this open house that we're having. We're going to have it open 30 minutes before the actual open house so that you have the opportunity to come tour the house on a private thing. And then he made it real personal. And then he would also say, and just so you know, there might be a lot of traffic that day coming down your street. So I wanted to kind of warn you. So it wasn't like a solicitation. It was more of an invitation. So he really liked it in that.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to incorporate that. I've done some post stuff before. I've done door hangers and knocks after you've got it sold, which is a whole nother layer. But yeah, that's great. All right.
And then just the regular public open. So common open house issues, maybe not having any listings. So does anybody in here host open houses for other agents?
I have been, yeah.
Okay, and how's that going for you? Are you getting any?
I've had a couple of good ones, and yeah, generating some decent leads out of a couple of them, and then the majority of them have been pretty slow. Not having kind of the cohesion and marketing between the agent and I, but They've been a good use of my time at this point in my career.
Yeah, because I've heard a lot of people say, oh, I don't want to host an open house for somebody else, that never works. But all it really takes is one person to come through that open house, right? And that could be a potential buyer.
I think it's important. So if I were in your shoes and I was going to cover somebody else's open house, I wouldn't want to find out, what are you as a listing agent doing to partner to market, to create exposure? Have you already let the marketing team know? Do you want me to do it all, or am I just going to show up? Because if you don't ask that question and that listing agent just wants to check off the box for the seller that we did an open house and hasn't done anything to promote it, that's what you're going to get. What you get with that, you're going to get one, maybe two people showing up. So, that's important because that's your bread and butter and that's your time. But we have the Slack channel, and if you haven't covered open houses and you have time and you want to build your business, like, this is a huge opportunity. Like I said, when I started off, I wasn't doing open houses. I do them for every single listing I have now. Definitely partner with the marketing team. I'm looking, I call actually on my comps when I do a CMA, I'm calling those listing agents with the comps and asking, what's foot traffic been like? I want to know, what can I expect at my open house? If there's another open house on a comp that's happening at a certain time, I try to actually partner. I call that listing agent, we'll do them at the same times. Because they're going to that one. Guess where they're going to go next? They're going to go to yours.
Yep.
So have them at the same time, because those same buyers are going to be comparing them. Then it comes down to condition and price, right? So you want to be priced better and you want to look better. So
yeah, and if you have a lender that you work with or you want me to help, I just had this literally a month ago. I was the lender with an agent. We were hosting somebody else's listing. And I handed my card off to a potential buyer. There was only 2 buyers that came through. And I was just like, hey, have you been pre-approved? And they're like, no. And I'm not pushy at all. And they ended up calling me. They didn't want initially to work with the agent. But what ended up happening is they got an offer accepted on new construction. The new construction was going to offer a 2.5 BAC. And they said, well, we'd be willing to work with that agent that was doing the open house. So I was able to feed that lead back to the agent. So you never know, the buyers that are coming through, who they're going to connect with. Maybe they won't connect with you as the agent, but they'll connect with the lender or vice versa. So do you have trouble getting people to sign in?
I don't, but just because of my sales background, some people do. So these are interesting tools. Have you guys heard of any of these tools before? Curb Hero, Open Home Pro? I've never used any of them. Ali, have you seen these before? Okay.
So they're just different tools for getting people to sign in if you're not comfortable asking people to sign in. But maybe you could share what you do, and then maybe anybody in the room that's been doing open houses could share what they do to get people to sign in, because I know that's often a...
Yeah, I think this could be more of a crutch. Now, if you're covering for somebody else and you've got some room to up your skill game to be able to converse with somebody and get their info, then maybe that could be a useful tool. But I think as real estate professionals, the number one thing we should be good at is connecting with somebody and qualifying. Like, if you're having a hard time getting someone's info, then role play. Find another agent that can be a mentor. And I still call agents all the time. I call Robin all the time still. I'll look up to her. She's been an agent longer than me. So if you're not reaching out and resourcing people, you're hindering and you're handicapping yourself. I don't make this really much of an option when somebody comes in. I've heard people, it's like when you go into Nordstrom and somebody goes, oh, hey, can I help you with anything? What do we usually say? No, I'm good.
Yeah.
Just browsing, I'm good. But if they're a little bit more on point, they say, hey, are you looking for shoes, apparel, or they're going to usually answer, I'm kind of looking for shoes. Well, let me walk you over there. And you just don't make it an option. Same thing with an open house. It's like, we'll do a quick role play.
Yeah.
Hi, my name is Aaron. Thanks for coming in today.
Hey, Aaron, thanks. I'm Eric.
Yeah, nice to meet you, Eric. Now, do you live currently in the area, or are you shopping around for yourself?
Shopping for myself, but if I come over, it'd be from across town.
Okay, very cool. Well, I'm excited for you to see the house. I'd love some feedback once you looked around. I'm not going to be in your face, but I am here to answer questions. If I can get you to register real quick, I'm not going to bug you by putting your number down, but I will update you. If you like the home, I'd imagine you probably want to know if we got an offer in.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get you to register over here. And I had 20 people come through my Lake Oswego. I got 20 emails, 20 phone numbers, 20 names.
This past weekend?
Yeah. It's just, you don't make it an option. You're just guiding them politely. Introduce yourself. Want to know who they are? Yep.
Are you then putting the sheet in front of them or are you?
I have the sheet in the kitchen, kind of that focal point. I just have it there. It depends on the layout of the home, right? If it's on the opposite end of the house, I try to find a spot where I can get them to do a little bit sooner. So, and then from there, I just maybe give them a couple little tidbits, things to look at. What are you most excited to see today while you're in here? We're going to actually have a slide that has the best questions you can ask, or at least some suggestions. But I want to know what they're most excited about. If it's the yard, we're going to talk about that. If it's the primary bedroom, I'm going to point them in that direction. Right. And then I'm always just kind of within earshot. Of course, you're not trying to be creepy, but you want to make sure if they have it, because sometimes I'll hear questions. Boy, I sure wish this had access to the garage. And I know that we can punch a hole through the wall, which is actually one of my listings. I already have a bid in mind. I already know what that's going to cost, and I can talk about it. So, yeah. Anybody else have a way that they get their info? Yeah, Henry?
I've got an app that I have on the iPad that, does it all. It's a little sign-in sheet. Free.
What's it called?
Yeah, it's literally called sign-in.
Oh, okay.
It's really rudimentary, it's just boring, but it works. And you can set it up any way you want. And then when you're done, it downloads into a CSV file for all the info.
Yeah.
Like a QR code that they scan or something?
No, let's see if I can't find it on my phone.
I used to use that. Yeah.
Literally called sign in. And it just
Okay. Cool.
I put it up on the iPad. I've got a keyboard and stuff, so it looks more official.
Yeah.
When it's just a piece of paper, I noticed that people scribble it all because that's what I do. And I get no phone numbers that way. Right. But when I make them type it in, then it feels more official.
And how many people do that, you think?
All of them do.
They all do. No
Yeah.
problem.
And I also tell them, like, hey, thanks for coming in. My company and the sellers of this home are kindly asking that you guys sign in. Just in case something crazy happens or whatnot, we know who to contact.
I kind of equate it to the buyer representation agreement that we all have to do now.
Yeah.
And it's very similar. Like if you put your hat on and you're like, I have to do this for the seller, and you treat it like a buyer rep agreement, the people I have seen stumble with having a buyer rep agreement are the ones that are nervous about it.
Yeah.
The ones that are just like, here you go, you have to sign this. Just like, here you go, you have to sign this for an open house, have no problem. It's all
Can we
about.
see that delivery again?
Yeah, it's confidence. It's a non-negotiable. But I less care about the tool, whether it's a QR code, a digital, a paper. It's just about capturing. The one advantage of paper, if it's a really bustling one, is when we were at 15 deep and everybody can see everybody else is registered too. Yeah, people, I hate to say this, but people are like sheep. They're less resistant. They've seen 10 other people have already done it. Now, if it's a ghost town of an open house, I don't know, maybe they'll just get it on their phone. Might be, oh, it's been great. Like, just get it on the phone. But you guys know your style and what works for you.
When I had paper, I would just keep the same sheet just going forward.
Oh, yeah, this already looks like.
Yeah, it looks like, I've had so many people through us and, I'll do the whole, man, you missed the crowd, all of that. Right. Good for you coming in now.
101.
Anyone else want to share on what they do or what's working, what hasn't worked, what's been challenging on the sign in? Well, here's a script, and this is really similar to what Ali and Aaron just said. Hi, I'm Julia with so-and-so. What's your name? Thanks for stopping by. Please enjoy some food, tour the property freely, and be sure to let me know what questions come up. First, though, please sign in so we have a record of your attendance today and can keep you updated about the house, right? The homeowners have asked that all visitors sign in for these purposes of safety or however you want to.
Last nuance on that, I'll see some people that they might hesitate. It's like, are you worried I'm just going to be calling you a lot? Like, because I know usually why people are pausing. Well, yeah, I'm not sure. I'm just kind of starting my search. Tell you what, I'm not going to bug you, but if we did get an offer, I said sorry, but if we did get an offer and you really like it, would you want to know?
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Oh, okay. So like if they're pausing, like interject, because you can sometimes kind of know what's pausing their brain there.
Right, right. Okay, the open house launch plan. Plan, promote, follow up. So planning. Why don't you go ahead and talk a little bit about how you plan for the open house?
I kind of work back from the CMA because again, I know what comps are out there. I call those listing agents, find out what traffic's been like if they've had open houses. You'd be surprised if you're positive and ask the right questions, how much a listing agent may divulge. Then you'll get the ones that just hold everything close to the chest. especially if you're a competition. But if they're closed transactions, they're usually more likely to tell you how things went for them, what the market's like. Data is important. We know lockbox activities down April from March. So like know all this data so you can have in your head your target. I love to get 10 people through this open house. What do I need to do? Obviously, I need to reach out to Lindsay. We need to get social media, stuff going for the open house. Go through your buyer list. Mention it on the Tuesday and Thursday calls. Tell as many, do personal invites. Joe Costello, I send them all my listings, like people that you've worked with in the past outside of our brokerage. I'm always sending them all my listings when they hit. And I tell them when I have open houses. Those are just some of my ideas. Do you guys have other ones that you guys do?
I've done like targeted Facebook ads.
Love it.
Geo-targeting them, for the neighborhood.
Very smart. Yeah.
Well, at least show the sellers like this people viewed it.
Sure.
Oh, that's a good idea. And they're not too expensive, are they?
No, not at all.
Yeah. Anyone else want to talk about how they plan for an open house? How long does it take you to plan typically?
I probably put a couple hours into it between the phone calls and looking at the flyers you guys send, which very rarely would ever have to say change anything, but tweaking, getting stuff in motion. The day of, there's planning, right? It's funny. I called my brother this morning. He runs my dad's trucking company. He's a truck driver. He's like, "What are you doing today?" "I'm doing a lunch learn on open houses." "Oh, cookies and business cards." That's all it is. I'm like, "No, Nick, there's a lot more than cookies and business cards. I promise you." So I make sure my Bluetooth speaker's charged. I want to run out that door. That's you got to have music. Know the type of house that you're actually doing it for, right? If it's a nice high-end luxury property, maybe some light jazz. If it's something more like on Woodstock, maybe some classic rock or something going. Know the vibe of the house. Have it match the consumer base, right? Food, snacks. I don't do a ton of that. I'll be honest. That's probably where I can up my game a little bit. But people like to surf around and take a snack, and it's a good conversation when they're kind of pausing. Yeah, in the kitchen. Go ahead.
One thing I like to do, because people are a lot more likely to trust me than just my business card, is I get stickers that are my card or QR code to my website and then on a cookie or a water bottle.
Love it.
So they
Make sure it's on top of the cookies so they see it, don't eat the so it's on that. Yeah. And I've done, we might be talking about theme. Oh, is this themes? Yeah. What do you know? Next slide. Anybody done a theme before? Okay. I've done a couple, not a lot, but one of the ones I think of is literally right during the whole pandemic thing downtown Portland, where all the chaos was going on. And there was looting going on, all that. I had a customer that I sold a condo to that wanted to sell his condo after a year. He's like, "This crazy down here. Can you sell it?" And I know I might take a loss, but I really can't. Like, oh gosh, what a tall order. And it was like literally in the Pearl. And I mean, homeless camps all around it. Like, this is, oh my gosh, how am I going to do this? So I did a mimosa brunch theme. And we took, I can't remember if you did that or Mitch back in the day, but somebody came, one of you guys came with me. We went to the little local bakery, went to the local little grocery store, and we actually filmed it and talked about it. We did a huge social media push, come to the brunch at these hours. And we had like 6 families come through. And one of them was a buyer that actually ended up buying it. So I have had buyers come to my open houses and buy. Same with the luxury property. We had another little brunch. This was for up in Portland Heights, a $2 million listing. Had like 8 people come through for a brunch, just a brunch theme. One of them happened to be a buyer that bought it. So themes can be really powerful, but if you do it, just buying, mimosa, orange juice and champagne and some pastries isn't going to do it. How do you get the word out? So I love the, Facebook marketplace or whatever kind of marketing you got to do. You got to create exposure. You got to get the word out.
Yeah.
And you can't do it the day before.
Yeah. And I would just say, like, ask your partners, your title partners, your lender partners, your friends, people within your social network. Hey, I'm going to post this on social. Will you share it? I mean, it's easy for people people like to help, right? And they'll easily click a button to share.
An event on Facebook, and all your friends kind of get that notification that you created an event.
That's a good idea.
So you're going to the event, and you can also then invite them to the event. But that's another thing I've done is create events and open.
I like that. Like even in an event, right, or something, right? Like people can say attending or tentative or whatever, and that'll actually help you know how much to buy, which is a good thing.
Yeah.
And something like that. Some of my open houses, we go live on a Thursday. You've got your open house. on a Saturday or Sunday. It's hard because you don't have a lot of it. If I'm going live on a Friday, I'm not doing a Saturday open house. I just don't have enough time to create exposure. That's going to be a Sunday, right? But if I go live on a Wednesday, Thursday, I'm doing a Saturday. You have to have enough views on there and track your online views, right? Because that's an important measure of how many people might come through. It's not always going to be, lined up, but I know my LO one had something like 2,200 views within a few days, whereas my Southeast one only had like 800 within a couple of days. So that kind of gives you a gauge. So
I had another agent real quick, because May 4th is coming up. She did a scavenger hunt called May the 4th Be With You. And she did all these little Star Wars figurines and she hid them around the house. And she had the people that were coming through, especially like with kids and stuff, try to find these little figurines. So she just made it fun, right? I mean, I think that was, and she had good success with that.
Last thing I'll say on this real quick, because I can blab about this for a long time, but partner not just with your lender, but like the escrow officer, and they have skin in the game too, right? They want to go pending and get one in escrow. So I've had them bring pastries, right? Maybe you bring some water and just make it a team effort. And then it helps too when there's questions that people have. You've got your expert lender, right? I had my lender go with me on both my open houses this weekend. And then escrow too, especially with the luxury property, people will ask more higher level questions and may have things about the property that might want to ask about, easements or weird things like that. So have that person prepped and have them come with you. Chris, did you ever do open houses when you were in title?
I want to say yes to help you out.
I'm trying to put you on the spot. Yeah.
He's like Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. But
And that could be more of a feature of the agent actually not inviting, and they probably should. So to be candid. So how about you, ladies? Have you? Yeah.
We're happy to help.
Yeah, it's very valuable.
That's are the escrow officers.
I haven't heard it come up, but I remember back in the day, they used to say when you had an open house, bake the actual cookies there. So it makes the house smell, or cook a turkey or something.
Cook a turkey.
Well, I mean, something that smells good. I don't know.
You got a big chef Hudson's coach on it?
I love that.
I'm just saying, is that something that happens?
I
Or
like the cookie.
Yeah. Or cake or anything. But you can buy those pre-made cookies. They smell pretty good.
They do smell.
That's funny. You just triggered a memory. When I was running 24 Fitness, we had a big closeout day and I went flyered a ton of cars. People hated me for doing it. But I said, mention the phrase gobble gobble and get zero initiation under membership. And my VP's visiting with me, sitting behind me, and everybody keeps walking, going, gobble, gobble, gobble. He's like, what is going on? But that could be, maybe you do a turkey on Thanksgiving time. I don't know.
Yeah, I think about the holidays and tie it to that, right?
Yeah,
Like the May the 4th thing. I know we talked a little bit about this. Have you hired a photographer?
For the themes I have,
okay,
the ones that have put more time and energy where I'm more confident that I'm going to have a good turnout. If you're just shooting from the hip and it's kind of a crapshoot, like, I don't, time and energy and resources, I don't know, but I'm sure Andy would love to capture some good photos. If you guys have put the time and marketing and partnered with the right departments and you're going to have a good turnout. Absolutely. It's a great showcase for you as an agent, something that you can show to other people, especially as you're presenting to a seller why they should work with you, because they're always comparing you with another agent, and you can showcase what you've done to help with marketing to get their property sold.
Yeah. So I think this question came up earlier. What's the best day and time to host the open house?
I'm kind of curious to hear what you guys think on this too, but Saturday, the weekends are obviously going to be the best time because people aren't working. Midday kind of captures a better audience. I've done 11 to 1, I've done 12 to 3, I've done middays typically work better. But if you're in a really hip area like the Pearl where it's bustling in the mornings, sometimes a morning brunch might work good, like I said. So kind of know the demographic and where you're located. But what are your guys' thoughts on this? Have you tried exploring different times?
One weekend I did one Saturday and Sunday, like 8 hours each at the same house. And my experience, like 11 to 1 is the highest track.
Yeah, I usually do 11 to 1. That's what 2 of mine were this weekend. You kind of capture that person, they sleep in and kind of get up and they start their day by going there. But it's too later in the day. They've already kind of got their daily routine going. So you got to get busy. Yeah. I'd agree with that. That makes sense.
Has anyone done evening ones during? Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, I just wanted to comment. I like to do mine shorter rather than longer, so you get more people like bumping into each other, and people get the fresh and then it's a really popular house. So if they want to come and see it, they got to see it within a 2-hour window at the max. And that way they're like, oh man, I just gotta get it in the offer soon.
It's a good perspective, Rex, because the other side of that is by having that extra hour, you might capture somebody that couldn't have came on the first couple hours just because their schedule didn't allow. But you do condense it, you would have more of that traffic. And if I didn't do that for my Lake Oswego one, though, that would have been complete mayhem.
Yeah,
Good thought. It can be mayhem. So anticipation. If you think you're going to have a bustling turnout, again, whether it's loan officer or whatever, maybe another co-agent, maybe somebody that's a little green that wants to learn and get sharp enough to hear some of the skill sets and see the action, maybe split the leads up. You know, if you get 2 buyers and 2 sellers, like you can take a buyer seller and I'll take one.
I love that. Plus you have the different personalities.
Yeah.
Right.
And especially if you got a vertical home with multiple floors, maybe have one in the living room, one in the entry. Somebody that can say, hey, have you had questions so far? Get them prepped up. If someone's covering your open house, prep them up, right? If it's a new roof, if the furnace has been serviced. And I've been guilty of this. God bless Joel, if you're watching this, he's covered a lot of my open houses. I didn't prep them in the beginning. And I would get so many questions via text, which is okay. I mean, you don't have to know everything going into an open house. But if you can prep that person, it's really going to help a lot.
So preparing, what do you do to prepare? I know this is just curb appeal, natural light, declutter, deep clean, any of these that really you do?
Yeah. So this is kind of a crazy story. I took on a really tough seller. Has anybody had a tough seller?
Never.
Only one.
Only one. Come on.
Right? Tough sellers.
Yeah.
And this guy, he's like, I want an open house every single week till my house sells. I said, I'm sorry, buddy. It becomes white noise. I'm not gonna do it every single week. I'll do it every other week. This took 6 months to sell. I did 12 open houses. I got it sold. But I remember on my 3rd or 4th open house, the lawn was getting long. The windows were getting dirty. It was a vacant home, right? And so I said, hey, I'm not going to do the next open house until X, Y, and Z is done. So it became my way of like managing the property to make sure it was clean. I was actually great. I got emails done and that place looked great. Every other week, hey, guess what you need to do again? And I won't be back. I'm not going to do the next one until you actually send me a photo that you mowed the lawn and all these things are done. So maybe a little anal, but that's kind of how I roll. So
yeah. Anyone else think these are super important or do any of these things? Or suggest to your sellers to do any of these things?
Yeah, I had a seller who insisted on being there for open houses. Not helping. There was a lot of their stuff was let down. So I was putting things away for them. Felt weird.
That's a tough one, right? Because you have your fiduciary responsibility of obedience, but that sounds like a trust issue, I'm guessing, on that one. So I would definitely question why and try and do your best to overcome that. But that I would not jive with that personally. But yeah.
Okay, and talking about promotion, you said a little bit about how you prepare, but do you do email, social media, door knocking, circle prospecting, any of that type of stuff?
Circle prospecting, no. Although that would be a big level up. I think you talked about that, Ali, a little bit, and the neighbor invite. I think that can be very powerful. For me, it's time and energy, but definitely it's going to yield a much higher result. Again, demographic, location. You just kind of have to figure, you just have to have a game plan that makes sense. I mean, emails, looking at your buyers, talk about it, social media marketing. I mean, what's great about our marketing team is they put it on all the social media platforms and then tag forward, all of that. But definitely circle prospecting. Has anybody done that? Sounds like how you've done that or know much about it. You've done it, Henry?
Circle prospecting? Yep.
Yeah, can you talk a little bit about your experience with that?
Back when I had access to Mojo, I would find out I'm doing a open house or something like that. I would say, and then I would just do a little radius. So I would just go up and say, hey, how you doing? Devin, I'm hosting an open house over at Aaron Pontius's house, this Saturday, and I figure out when your open house was, and I'm helping him trying to drive traffic to this house, and it was just my little way of having an opening to be able to talk to them about possibly selling their house. And if they said, oh, well, he's having an open house, yeah, you should go see him. Cool. And then, are you thinking about selling your house? No. All right, well, screw you. On to the next one. And that was what I would do. And then even for my own open houses, I would do the same thing.
Yeah. One thing I'll mention, the flyers, our team makes a great dialed in where it has features on the bottom and highlights the main points. It has like, I think 3 or 4 tiles on the bottom of the picture, the main picture on the front. And it's a great thing just to leave there at the house when you're done with the open house too, because the seller sees it. It's a great take one, and your business card, if they run out, they're actually on the flyers too. So it's a great ad.
I was going to ask you, in talking about promotion, how many signs do you do?
Well, it depends. I think I have 6 personal signs that I had made for me. I try to, that's another part of planning. You got to look at the highest traffic streets, make sure they're out there. I put balloons on all of mine. I usually have 2, and I do silver, the shiny silver. What's that, Mylar or maybe that's plastic Mylar? Mylar, I said it wrong. But those capture the light too. And get them out there. I'm really anal about it. I get them acclimated to the temperature for a half hour first. This is crazy. And then I blow on them if they need more air. I'm weird. I'm really weird like that. But man, presentation, getting them out there, those balloons moving, that makes a huge difference. When I used to run a health club, we'd have an event. I swear to you, those lawn signs and that, people would come in because I'd always ask, what brought you in? Oh, I saw your sign. Like, great. What street were you on? Like, I want to know. Like, it makes a big difference. So sometimes there's only 3, sometimes I have 5 or 6 out.
Yeah.
Depends on location.
My word, I think for the last year or the year before, was differentiation. Like, how do you differentiate from somebody that just has like 1 or 2 little signs?
Yeah.
You know, you have balloons, you have like a flag or something that, you know, they're going to look at yours first and be like, oh, that looks cool. I'm going to check that one out first.
And we have awesome sandwich boards. So all you need to do is just put a couple of balloons on that thing and let it do its thing.
The reason you're doing that is not to sell the house, right? Those balloons are not going to sell the house. It's not going to change the results of that open house. But the hope is that you get another listing because of it, because I know other sellers are drawn to the balloons, right? It's not really for that specific house. It's for what can come of that.
It shows preparation. It shows professionalism. It looks great.
And if you're putting out 6 signs versus 2, would you say that's more people that are going to see those?
Yeah, more street cross streets. You know, don't just put them. I see sometimes I'll see them. The arrows are facing the wrong way. I had my lender go help me, and I'm a control freak. I knew he put all 5 of them out, and I want to see where he put them. They weren't on the edge of the curb, and the arrows were facing the wrong way. Oh my goodness! I didn't tell him because I wanted to feel bad. But I'm like, yeah.
Do you have like a helium machine for the?
No, I go to the Dollar Tree, man.
You can buy a Party City, like a little.
Yeah,
Party City.
So I use little pinwheels, and
cool.
Costco, you can get, or not Costco, Amazon, you get like 1,000 of them for like $20.
Oh, that's smart.
And so I put pinwheels on mine, and I just tape them to the back. And usually the kids will steal them. And then I take the extras and I make little kits and I give them out at the open house. So when a kid comes in, I'm like, ooh, give this to him, and I'll help put it together. And the kid's just waiting, and I'm just going really slow. I'll talk to the people, hey, what brought you in, all that stuff. And then I give them his kid a pinwheel, and the kid's happy. They're happy.
Parents love that.
Yeah. I like that, Henry. That's
really good. Like you said,
pinwheels spin around, in the wind, and they're super easy to see.
Yep.
Like you said, invest in your lender or your partners to go door knocking for you, or like do little, this was for St. Patty's Day, so we did little green cups with stuff in them. And then we already talked about title partners. Anything else you want to add that you guys can do to help?
No, you guys were talking about doing walking the neighborhood. We can pull those names for you with those walking apps, so you know exactly whose door you're going to. And then you have something to write on if you want to follow up. So that's really quick and easy to do.
Helpful.
That's really helpful.
I've done that as well. With that title, send me the addresses around.
Right.
And then when I sent the postcards or flyers, I use just the kind of camera just for that neighborhood. So there's a way to, you partner with them to get that information. Help send it.
Yeah.
That's great.
I'm gonna go. I don't want to show that we don't really have time because I want to make sure you guys are out of here on time. This was a funny video about being late, so you want to make sure that you're on time, right?
This has been me before, yeah, for sure. This happens.
Yeah, so you don't want to be like, oh my god, like
That's your cars.
like trying to like get stuff like super fast and like just like jump that.
We got to run a video like
The audio, you can't hear me just yelling at people at the door. Wait, just wait.
There's always things.
The house explodes.
The worst is when you're running late, like there, and then like, oh, I just wanted to tell you one thing about the thing and the thing. And you're like, get the heck out.
It's definitely a sweaty thing when they're trying to get in the door and you're still getting your signs out. So you gotta get through.
Yeah, we kind of talked about a little bit about this real quick. Any kind of treats that you guys have? Have you done giveaways or anything like that?
I don't do the giveaways, but I mean, people do them and they seem to work. You guys done giveaways?
That was the way I got people to sign in. It was like, hey, I'm doing a drawing. You put your name down for a gift card.
Sure.
To a restaurant.
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Very good.
I had a client one time who wanted me to give away.
You know I'm not saying that.
Like snow cones. It was just a blazing hot day. They had no air conditioning. She's like, it'll be a little cooler, a little more comfortable. And so, I'm like, great, I'll do the snow cones, whatever. So I do the snow cones, and they ended up like people ripping them all out. I'm never giving any food to the house. It's ridiculous. Like if they're here to see the house, great. But yeah.
So that's actually really smart, right? If you have chocolate, there's white river carpet or something. It's like be thoughtful about that. Yeah.
You talked about real quick because we're running out of time. Questions that you might want to ask. So you already asked about living in the neighborhood. We talked about Ford a little bit when we met, asking people about their family occupation, recreation, dreams. And I can give this slide deck to Allie too for her to send this.
You guys want the deck?
Hell yeah.
Okay. Oh yeah. And then just some more questions. How long have you been searching for a home? Do you currently own? How soon are you looking to move? So more questions. Making sure that, you guys are putting their contact information in a CRM. And I think the key is follow up, right? So what do you do to follow up?
This slide right here.
Okay.
So obviously, guys, we have like it's so critical that when you get home, you don't just go, oh gosh, that was a long day, and do it later. It's still part of the open house, getting it all in the system. So get it all in there, get the drip set up, and then be intentional and do a quick thank you for stopping by the open house. And if you remember something, so a lot of times on the open house sign-in sheet, I'll write something on the back about a particular customer. They have 2 big dogs, one in a fenced yard. Know something about them so that you can speak to that on your follow-up. And then say, would you like me to keep you posted if we have an offer? And if they're like, well, yeah, then my next question is, were you thinking about putting one in? Right? Because why wait till somebody else puts one in? And then let Pub do its thing, right? So do your follow-ups, make sure that they're staged properly, and do the work afterwards. But enter it right away. Because I'll be honest, I've had a long day before where that sheet sits on my desk and I don't enter them right away. And that's missed opportunities and missed time. So get them in the system.
Yeah, and like when I share the slides, this gives you like I'm not sure what your system does, so this might not even be pertain to you guys, but this gives you what you could do for the next, what your goal is, how you reach out to them, video message, call, email, call plus text, and gives you different ideas of what you could chat with them about. You guys might already have that in your system, but
sort of.
But that gives.
I think it was even more expansive. We cut slides out. We had 50, but we reduced this day.
Yeah.
It went to like 20.
I think we had like 20 days of follow-up.
20 follow-ups. Yeah.
So again, we talked about overcoming open house issues, preparing and promoting your open house, the big day, and capturing and converting leads to clients. Is there anything that anybody wants to share or any questions that we have before we wrap up? And I ask each of you what your one big takeaway was.
I just asked my AI assistant Sugar if I could text her the people who came to my open house and like she could just automatically add them to FUB for me because of that. She said no. So that was a bummer. But then I asked her again, I was like, what if I send you a picture of my open house sign-in sheet? Can you organize that and make it really easy for me to add to FUB? And she said, yeah.
I like
so try that. If you have an open house sign-in sheet, take a picture, send it to your house whisperer assistant, and watch magic happen.
And make sure you send a copy to your loan officer there too, because they can follow up. And if you have a good partnership, they'll like, hey, did you get a hold of Tracy? Because I just talked to her. Like, that's important too.
Yeah. And I'm happy to do any open houses with anyone if they want me there. So let's go around the room. And if you guys can give me your think of a number between 1 and 100. And then we'll start with you. Give me
first again.
One big takeaway and then pick a number.
Just pick a number.
Yeah, between 1 and 100. Sorry, I wasn't.
I had a few takeaways, but I guess one here is I have had problems getting people to sign in. So yeah, kind of being more casual yet forceful in my language there is one of my takeaways. And 45.
Okay. Don't forget it.
Okay.
don't be in their face. Let them wander, but yet close enough so you can hear if they have questions or something. But I think that's a great idea, and I'll go with 88.
There you go.
I like the themes and involving other people, like having a title person, having a lender, like having other support, like special photographer slicks that are for that open house, just expanding it out and looking at it from a larger view.
And I love the idea about being able to share that with future listing appointments.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
look what I've done for my sellers before.
Right. 33.
I took a lot away from this, but the ultimate one is that it's more of a self-reflection that maybe I should probably do more open houses, instead of taking the weekend off, which is a lot easier. But no, this one's inspiring and eye-opening for me. I'm gonna go with 55.
Everybody's on double digits.
Yeah.
I'm gonna start with 36. And, my big takeaway is neighbors can be super helpful. I have one particular memory. I haven't been doing this a long time, but I have one particular memory of talking to this one neighbor who really just came to talk to somebody. It wasn't really interested in the house at all, and I actually had like serious buyers come in and leave to a point I never even got to talk to them because she just like I couldn't get out of the conversation. And so I've kind of had this perspective of like easing up on the road signs even and stuff. 'Cause like I don't necessarily like I was afraid to have people coming in that weren't interested but to your point, there's a lot more that they can do than just be an interested buyer. So that's probably my big takeaway is that there's more going on to an open house than just trying to pick up a bus.
Yes, great.
Well, I would say my biggest takeaway, I didn't even know that neighbors did come to open houses. I felt nosy by doing that. Like there's a couple people on my street where I'm like, I'm really curious, but I feel like I don't want to do that. So, and then just on the HR side, I like the idea of signing in because of the safety aspect and making sure that you know who it's. What's your name? 2.
I like the pinwheels. I think
I like the pinwheels.
super
too.
simple,
Yeah.
easy to employ, and have fun. I always love joking around with kids.
Yeah.
And I find that if you can get people joking around, it kind of lightens the mood. Some people feel like, oh, this guy's gonna pressure me into buying this house, so I'll just ask him right off, are you gonna buy this house? They'll just start laughing. Like, I can write it up right now. Just kind of gets them to chill out. I'll go with 29.
Great. In the back.
I was talking. We're doing one takeaway, right?
Yeah, one takeaway and then your number.
My biggest takeaway was making sure I implement the sign-in sheet because I've done open houses where I'm like, oh, I rocked it. I'm so dynamic. I know everything about the house. I give out 40 business cards and then you don't get a single call after the fact. So definitely implement that. We have so many. My brain was just kind of going through some of our tools we have and how we could make the follow-up super simple after the fact too. So I'm definitely going to do that. I'm picking a number between 1 and 100.
Yep.
I didn't hear the others, but blow it, don't blow it. 91.
Okay.
Casey, my biggest takeaway is the partnering would be a good way to get perspective and different people liking different people. And I was like, that's a great idea. I always felt like inconveniencing that lender that's what that would be seen as. And it's actually, that's not like they need people that need pre-approvals and so that's a great takeaway. And then the sign-in sheet, because I've always been so nervous about the sign-in sheet, so I'm just going to be a little bit more pragmatic and that.
Good.
So, and my number would be lucky 13.
All right, going around.
I would say my takeaway would probably be just engaging more with the neighbors, because usually that's not really focused with the neighbors, but I get that that's important too.
Yeah.
And then also the time, usually I do them from like 1 to 3, but I think 11 to 1 would be a good, switch it up. And my number is 57.
Perfect.
Okay.
I think I like to see aspect of more planning and making sure there's enough time between the listing and the open house. If and being intentional with that promotion, something I could do better at. I also like the time in 22.
Okay.
My biggest takeaway is better about follow-up afterwards. And I'll go instead of connect.
I like the exposure quote. What did you say exactly? Exposure is everything or something. Just understanding that the
I
more.
don't remember my quotes. I come
Alright.
up with random things.
Partnering with other agents, I think that's important. If there are other listings on the street to just encourage that collaboration between other listings. And I'm gonna go with 100.
I like your brunch theme idea and your shiny balloon photo session on the side. From an event planner perspective, yeah. I'm gonna go with 7.
Right. I like, my takeaway is get creative. Like, there's no one size that fits all for any of this. Like, there's no one agent that is like another. So try a little bit of all of it and see what works for you, because they're all going to be different experiences and have success with them. So get creative. You know, my number is 5.
5. Okay.
Got it. I think we get everybody. You guys can't.
Andy, did you want to?
I'll do the preparation as well and creative. So like when you guys are doing listings, come out and we can film something to promote your open house, because that's going to be following. So, the videos that we do, like show up and let's do something cool. But more exposure is always better. So it's always fun to work.
Throw a number out there, buddy.
26.
All right. What was the number?
Well, you were 45. Yep. And you were 55, and mine was 50. So how are we going to do it?
Well, you guys, you both can grab a book.
Yeah.
How about that? So there's 5.
The middle. Just want my card.
You can have the card.
What area?
I just want to thank you again for coming. Just real quick, I'm doing an event on May 13th at a house in Lake Oswego. And it's basically free headshot. So if you need an updated headshot for the spring, for your business cards or for flyers or for social media, it's free. It'll be 4 to 6. I'm partnering with Podshark Media. I did it last